Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday, June 30th, 2015. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Cardoodle. This is Jim. First, I want to give you all a scheduling update. This cartoon will be done sometime in July. A more precise release date is to come in the next couple of weeks. And in August, instead of a regular cartoon, I'll actually be releasing a trailer for an upcoming project in September. Now the reason for this is that this September project is going to be about twice as long as my typical cartoons and therefore going to take a bit longer to create. But by the time mid-August rolls around, I should have enough footage to at least tease it a little bit. So, real sorry if you think I'm kind of a jerk for once again breaking my monthly deadline, but technically I'm not breaking the rules. But seriously, thanks for being so patient and supportive. You guys are absolutely awesome. Right now I am designing a character for the next episode of Welcome to Boulder Dash. Got 3 templates here and I'm going to be drawing over them to make 3 basic designs. I like elements of all 3 of them. I'm trying to figure out which ones I want to keep in the final project. The one on the left I actually ended up liking quite a bit because it kind of had a Dexter's Laboratory vibe to it, but I feel like that looks a little bit too young, though I'll probably keep him in mind for maybe future projects because I really do like the look of it. You never know when a scrapped idea might be useful later. I'm really kind of going for a kind of worn and weathered, late middle-aged kind of character. You'll also see that the uniforms differ a little bit between them and that they've all got a device strapped to them. That's actually the time travel device that's going to be part of the uniform. So you'll see like the one on the left and the right is kind of a wrist worn device. It's actually kind of 2 devices on the one on the left. In the middle it's kind of worn on the chest. And I'd really love to hear what elements you like of these characters, and I'll try to incorporate them into the final product. The only thing is that it has to have the red button. A big red button is essential to any technological device. Now, I'm actually really excited about July's cartoon because I've always been fascinated by time travel and the way different stories handle it. One of the most famous examples is probably Back to the Future, for example, which uses the many worlds hypothesis, and basically that states if you go backwards in time and make a change, an entirely new universe is created in that moment, and that's what prevents time travel paradoxes. And it's kind of funny because those same rules are the reason why a lot of people really don't like Part 2. Now, if you're one of the like 4 people who hasn't seen the Back to the Future trilogy, in Part 2, Doc Brown, the inventor of the time machine, goes forward about 30 years and finds out that his friend Marty has a son who accepts this dare that lands him in jail and basically tears his whole family apart. So Doc goes back to 1985, picks Marty up, and tells him about this plan that he's concocted to have Marty disguise himself as his son and stand up to the bullies, which he does, and therefore prevent all these tragedies from happening to the McFly family. Now the problem is Biff, the bully from the first movie who's now an old man, overhears them talking about time travel. He goes and steals the time machine to go back to 1955 when he's young and makes this big scheme to become rich off of gambling. Yada yada yada, lots of bad stuff happens and Marty and Doc have to go back to 1955 to fix the timeline once again. And the problem here is that if Biff goes and changes the past, because of the many worlds view that the Back to the Future series takes, he should not have been able to return to the 2015 that young Marty and Doc exist in, thus allowing them to go back in time and fix things once again. Because for all intents and purposes, Biff should be in an entirely different universe. But I can actually forgive the inconsistencies of those time travel rules. My problem with Back to the Future Part 2 is that it was actually completely unnecessary for Doc to bring Marty to the future in the first place. Like in the first movie, having a weird covert plan made some sense. You don't want to reveal the time machine to the world before it's technically invented, and he's got to save his parents' relationship and all that stuff. You got to keep that stuff secret in order to prevent paradoxes. But in Part 2, the Marty from 30 years in the future already knows that time travel exists. He knows about the DeLorean, he remembers the adventures he's gone on, so what Doc easily could have done is go back one day before the bad events happen to the McFly family, go up to Marty's house, knock on the door and say, "Hey man, good to see you again. Hey, you know what? Some bad stuff's gonna go down with your son tomorrow. You might want to keep him home after school." Roll credits. And that's it. That's your movie right there. Then again, you've got other series that really don't seem to have any rules, like Doctor Who, where they basically say, well, whatever, time travel's a thing, but the universe is really big, so you can mess around with history all you want. Doesn't really affect that much. If I were ever to make a series about time travel, I'd probably go into it with that mindset, because I'm really not smart enough to keep track of all the rules and making sure everything's consistent. Honestly, I think that's why I have Welcome to Boulder Dash as standalone skits in the first place. I'm just pretty bad at keeping track of stuff. So anyway, what are your favorite time travel tropes and theories? Tell me about it in the comments section. We can have glorious nerdy arguments together. I want to thank you once again for tuning in. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I'll be back again next Tuesday for another blog, and I will see you then.